everyone, it's Shel from Paper Octio Studio, and it's finally over. This is day 29 and 30 of the June ATC a day challenge. Of course, I know this is July now. The way my schedule for videos was set, I couldn't post this one until today, and I believe today is Independence Day in the United States, so happy barbecues and fireworks, everyone. So for day 29, the 29th of June, my ATC, I started out playing with these distress inks. I don't use these very often, and the only ones I have in the regular size are the Vintage Photo, which is that big one in the box there. And then I have all these smaller ones because I figured if I wanted a lot of colors and I wanted to try out the product, I would just get the tiny ones. So they're 1 inch by 1 inch. They come in sets of 3 colors, and I got several sets and then those little cases to put them in. You guys know that I want all the colors right. Well, I didn't get all the colors. And I don't even have any of the Distress Oxides. So I'm trying to be, moderate. So then once my little background was done, I decided to use some of the things in my Happy Mailbox. These are things that people have sent me. There's a lot of little die cuts and stickers and things like that. And I decided, hey, you could make an ATC with these cute stickers, right? That would be a really quick way to make an ATC. Of course, an ATC being an artist trading card, which is 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches, or 9 centimeters by 6.5 centimeters approximate, if you're using that method of measuring. So I trimmed down my little card so that I could have a backing on it, which is a brown cardstock, because I just like the way that looks around the edge. And then I decided to add a few details to my background using Pit Artist brush pens. These are India ink pens, so they don't run with water once they're dry. Then I just picked out like some leftover, just little bits and bobs of stickers. There's some foliage ones that are left over from a sticker sheet. There's that cute alligator that is a 3D sticker. It almost looks like paper painting. It's really cute. Don't know where it came from, but it's in my box of Happy Mail, so someone sent it to me. And then there was this little tiny, what are those things called? Inchies. Some people make inchies and twinchies, and there was this little bird. So I cut out the bird and colored him in to the colors that would match my background. Decided that he could be the alligator's friend, sitting on the top of his head. Excuse me. And then there was these stickers that, if you have a punched hole, sometimes there's a reinforcer that goes around it. It looks like a donut. That's what those stickers are. And I just used the centers out of them, which would probably be the part that was discarded if you're really using them for reinforcements. And they're not just your plain manila ones. They have printing on them. They're kind of vintage looking, browns and cream colors. And I just decided to use those for polka dots because polka dots are always fun. Then I glued everything together using Aleene's tacky glue. I don't trust stickers, and some of these stickers are pretty old leftover ones, and so I know they're not going to stay on there. So I glued everything down with the tacky glue just to make everything secure. And then also use the tacky glue to glue it onto my brown background. My throat is messed up this morning. I don't know what's wrong with it. So once everything was together, then of course I've got to always do my details. I thought about using that cute hello die cut, but it was just too big. It stretched too far over the card. So a good thing to do whenever you are sticking something onto something else, whether it's a sticker like this or whether it's a cutout thing that you've made or a die cut or whatever, it looks more cohesive if you give it a shadow. It helps blend the two pieces together. And shadow and highlights are always a good idea. Extra details, the more detail you put on something, the better it looks. So I ended up using my Stabilo All pencil. I started out using the Pitt pens, and then I didn't really have a color that I liked. Also, this background isn't sealed, and so I wouldn't be able to blend the Pitt pens very well. So I just used the Stabilo All and some water to blend it out. And then another thing that you can really do to change stickers is to add white highlights. And I did that with my white Posca pen, just using little dots and dashes. Really makes a difference. Makes everything come together a lot better when you have the same white highlights on everything, the background and the foreground. I also did it on the little polka dots. It makes them look more 3D. Then I just got some black archival ink and stamped the word friends. It's a stamp from some Stampin' Up! Set. I don't know, probably discontinued, but I'll look for something that's similar. And that's it for day 29 in the Alligator Friends. Day 30, last day of the challenge, I decided to do some illustration again. Starting out with my mechanical pencil. This is a Pentel 1000 drafting pencil, and I have soft graphite in it, and it is 0.05 size. And this is my favorite pencil for drawing. The soft graphite makes the lead easy to erase, and it doesn't press down into the watercolor paper and make grooves. Also, it's blendable. If you wanted to use it as a shadow, you can blend this type of graphite. So that's what I use to do my illustrations, to begin my drawings. Sped this up to 8 times fast. I also really like this Tombow Zero click eraser. It has a very tiny end, and I can get into the little spaces on these tiny cards, so it's something that I'm really enjoying. And then I just use my big white eraser to erase it after I go over all the lines using my illustration pens. These are the Pitt Artist Pens set. It has a brush pen, it has a chisel pen, it has large, medium, small, extra small tips. And when I am making an illustration, I like to vary the line width sometimes. So I started out with the medium tip, and then I moved to the small tip, and then the extra small tip. So you get more dynamic illustration by varying line widths on your drawing. Of course, you can also do that by just, doubling up your line, widening. I could go back over and really make some of the lines thick with the brush pen, but this is fine. These cards are small, so there's not a whole huge amount of detail that you can put into them, really. So it's a cockatoo, maybe. It's not a parrot because it has feathers on the top. It's some kind of a whimsical tropical bird. A bluebird of paradise is what it ends up being. A bluebird of happiness. I don't know. Happy that I'm done with the challenge. I don't know. So I decided for coloring to use my Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons. These are soft water-soluble pigment in a crayon form, and if I had to go to a desert island and be stranded with only a few art supplies, these would be what I take. And of course my water barrel brush, which contains water inside of the barrel so that you don't have to keep dipping your brush into water. Very handy. These are so blendable, easy to blend two colors together like I'm doing now. Come in a lot of colors. I think I probably have all the colors. I'm not sure that I do, but I got them in dribs and drabs and bits and bobs, so I don't know if I have every single color, but I hope that I do because I love them a lot. So I'm just coloring, and I'm varying my depth of color by pressing harder sometimes and then pressing lighter in other places, and also adding different colors to my same area. So I started out with on his body, I started out with like a periwinkle blue and then switched to a darker blue on the edges, blend that in. These are fun to play with. I like them a lot. And I have some leaves and some flowers, a branch. You know, the bird has to have something to sit on. I hate it when things are just floating, so had to draw in something for him to sit on, and of course had to make flowers on it so it looks tropical because it's kind of a tropical type of bird. Of course, I've never seen one of these in the wild. I've never been somewhere where they were in the wild. I've seen them in captivity, but never in the wild. It'd be fun to see them in the wild, but that would mean you'd have to go out to the rainforest jungle or something, I think, and that doesn't sound very pleasant to me. High humidity, large bugs. Yeah, maybe not. So I ended up making the flowers kind of an orangey yellow. I thought that was appropriate. And I used 2 shades of gray on the branch so it almost looks like a birch branch or something like that with a really light bark. So then for the background, I'm using a couple different colors of kind of a sky blue teal type color. I wanted to blend in that darker color on the edges, and I was having a little bit of trouble blending it, so a trick I like to use is to just bring in some white paint or gesso and use that with your water, with the water on your brush, and that helps blend in more smoothly the pigment, especially when something happens like you are getting your watercolor paper pilling. You know, if you get too much water on there and you rub it too much, it pills sometimes. So when that happens, it's a good idea to go ahead and put a little bit of some sort of an acrylic medium on there with it, and that helps a lot. However, you got to be careful with your water barrel brushes when you do that, because if you suck that acrylic up into the valve of the brush, which I have done more times than I would care to admit, kind of ruins the brushes. Someone told me I could soak them in Murphy's oil soap and it'll clean them out, and I hope that's true. I just haven't got around to it. I have all my broken brushes and I just haven't taken them apart and soaked them to see if I can fix them or not. Because that's not doing art, that's doing something else, and I would rather do art than mess around with that type of stuff, so I just don't ever get to it. I did finally buy the Murphy's oil soap though, so I do have it. I got some brushes I need to soak because I'm a brush abuser. So I wanted to add in my new Posca pen set, which is the Naturals set. So I got that out and used it on a few things. And of course, white to add the details. I don't think I could survive without this white Posca pen. I'm not sure I could survive. Okay, I could survive, but I'd be more sad. And adding in those little feathery details on the bird really made a difference with the white pen, huge difference. And I also added some details with the colored pens as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this challenge. I looked this morning on Instagram and saw that in our hashtag, which is hashtag ATCday2017, that there was 800 posts from different people all over the world making ATCs. Also in our group, the Pick a Stick Challenge group, there's been tons and tons of posting. We have a whole album for them, and I don't even know how many are in there, but there's a lot. If you just search that hashtag in any social media, you'll come up with stuff, and you'll see that a lot of people participated, and there's a lot of really great art out there. So I would recommend you do that. So I just trimmed down the card and put it on a black background, black cardstock. I like to do that. It gives it a nice edge. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Turn on your notification bells. And please leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. I love knowing that who it was that was visiting. Oh, I guess I finished up with some glitter and a Winkestella pin. So that looks kind of pretty. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.